The Devil's Tramping Ground and Other North Carolina Mystery Stories by John Harden. Preface. This volume is an outgrowth of a weekly radio program presented for 16 months over radio station WPTF at Raleigh, North Carolina in 1946 and 1947. The radio series was called Tales of Tar-Heelia, and it gave me the opportunity of indulging in a hobby, the collection and preservation of unusual North Carolina stories. As I told my stories each week over the air, there developed from listeners a demand for many of the stories in some lasting and usable form. And there is a genuine need for such collection, or preservation, of North Carolina's rich supply of legends, historical incidents, and folklore. These are important as a means of providing a permanent record of the background for the larger story of our state, her people, and their times. Through these, we can have a better understanding of our tradition, a greater pride in our past, a broader consciousness of our heritage and culture, and a keener appreciation of our regional and national character. These stories are perishable. Just how perishable I have found as I've dug through for some of these yarns. There is always a limited time for recording something of a moving stream, and a number of our better stories have already been lost or garbled. So we have a responsibility in this respect. There are older people in our state who know firsthand the stories, the legends of our state. With their passing may go even the memory of much of our wonderful story heritage. I was frankly surprised at the spontaneous demand that appeared in connection with my radio presentation of these stories, seeking for them some more permanent recording. The call came from school, library, playground, and camp people, as well as from a rather astonishing cross-section of interested individuals. Over the radio, the stories series included North Carolina mysteries, ghost stories, adventure stories, folk tales, and unusual yarns about unusual things in the state's historic background. From these, for this volume, the mysteries have been segregated into a group. Our North Carolina ghost stories, adventure stories, and so on might well form their own collections. Tar-Heelia has more than its share of mysteries, historical and otherwise. The history of the region that is today North Carolina started out with an unsolved mystery, the lost colony of Roanoke Island. Other North Carolina stories, not so universally known, but just as interesting, offer mysteries quite as fascinating and equally baffling. At least one of these stories has never before been written. So I bring together something of the old and something of the new, something of the known as well as the unknown, in a rather comprehensive collection of mystery stories of North Carolina. The range embraces acts of violence, beautiful poetry, graceful animals, delicate shrubs, phantom lights, and many things in the behavior of man and nature that come and go without understanding or explanation. Here, for the first time, the better-known stories of North Carolina are assembled in one place, between one set of covers, and for the convenience of those who have an interest in them. In the past, it has been necessary to go to as many different sources as there are stories to get any light at these fascinating mystery tales of Tar-Heelia. I owe credit to Richard Mason and Graham Pointer, manager and program director of radio station WPTF, at the time these yarns were developed in their original form. Assistant Director Porter Cowles and Virginia Reynolds of the editorial staff of the University of North Carolina Press guided this effort with their skilled touch, from the rewriting of radio scripts to the completion of the volume you hold in your hands. And no one writes of North Carolina without help at one place or another from Bill Sharp, the press agent that Irving S. Cobb said North Carolina needed. I am pleased to have the book illustrated by Mary Lindsay McAllister of Salisbury, a rising young artist of exceptional talent. At this writing, she is still in art school perfecting herself for a fine career that lies ahead. To be sure, I have my daughter, and the friendship that exists between her and Mary Lindsay McAllister, to thank for the young artist's services here. With these, I also pay tribute to and express my gratitude for North Carolina's humble racconteurs of legend and story who have kept many of these stories alive through the years, and to those who brought this book into being through their expressed desire for a collection of North Carolina mysteries. The stories embrace our state from the capes to the coves, from palmettos to the land of the Potomac. They are all a part of the weaving and the warp of our state's story, and I present them as such. John Harden, Greensboro, North Carolina, October 2nd, 1948. Hi there. My name is A.E. Jackson. I live in Western North Carolina and happen across the book I'm going to be reading to you at my local library. They say never judge a book by its cover, but in my experience, there's one exception. A plain canvas cover with foil embossed text on the spine, which is how I encountered Mr. Harden's book. To my knowledge, all recordings of Harden's show have been lost to time. Luckily for us, he had the foresight, as mentioned in his preface, to make a lasting record of these stories. On this channel, I will read one story per episode from the book as it is written. As this book is over 80 years old, there will be some outdated and possibly offensive terms. For completeness, I will be including the majority of them. I will, however, include a content warning at the beginning of any episode that contains such language. A follow-up episode to each tale will dive deeper into the mysteries, in which I will correct any mistakes printed or add any new information that has come to light since he wrote this book. Please note that I am in no way a professional. I'm just a dedicated amateur with a very small budget. I will make mistakes. You will hear traffic, probably my air conditioner, and perhaps even my cats may join us. But I will do my best to create yet another record of the Tar-Heelia stories. Thank you.